People are still fascinated by the Titanic, even though it's been 108 years since it hit an iceberg and sank on its maiden voyage to New York from England. For three-quarters of a century, the wreck remained elusive at the bottom of the North Atlantic. But on September 1st, 1985, that all changed. Oceanographic Robert Ballard's team of scientists aboard the Woods Hole ship RV Knorr spied a debris trail some 12,500 feet below the surface via a camera on Rove Argo. I hurried below, and there on the screen was Titanic giant yellow boiler, says Ballard. In this video, we will figure out together why, after all of these years, the ship is still under the water. If you like the video, do not forget to support us by hitting the subscribe button. Activate the bell so you can receive all new notifications, and of course, like the video if you liked it. So let's begin. The Titanic ship, whose name will never be erased from people's memory. The RMS Titanic, or what is known as Titanic, which has become an interesting and thorny story for various writers and filmmakers. Every history in this story is an important and a significant event. From the moment of its launch in April 1912 until it collided with an iceberg and drowned it 4 days after its launch, until the moment the wreck of the Titanic was found on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean 35 years ago. After 73 years of the catastrophe that claimed the lives of more than 1,500 passengers on the Titanic, its wreck was found on September 1985. Since the announcement of this historic event, the media has reported many accounts trying to come to terms with the fact that the Titanic wreck was discovered. The most famous of which was officially announced at the time that joint U.S.-French mission was dispatched to this goal, led by Robert Ballard, a former officer in the U.S. Navy, a professor of oceanography at the University of Rhode Island, and one of the most famous names in the field of underwater archaeology. And that day they were able to find the famous shipwreck. The foregoing was the official account of the story of the Titanic shipwreck, but the British Daily Mail newspaper, in a press report published on June 1st, 2018, revealed unexpected details, stating that the French-American mission that found the wreckage was on another secret mission to find two submarines that sank during the Cold War period, and that the story of the Titanic discovery was only a cover of this highly secret mission. These shocking details appeared only one day before Daily Mail report in the name Titanic, The Untold Story, which opened on May 30th, 2018, in National Geographic Museum in the American capital, Washington, where many of the ship's famous shipholding were exhibited for the first time. Among them concerning survivors and lifeboats, even the musical notes played by the musician during the last moment of the sinking, and other rare holdings. The existence of these two facts did not diminish the importance of the Titanic ship and its story that occurred 108 years ago, but rather something that added to the importance and mystery of this story. From its earliest moment to the present, Titanic has always been the favorite story of filmmakers and TV makers who created the film after another about it, and until now, it is a tempting story to work on. The decades of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, they continued to deal with what happened with the sunken ship, until the year 1997 came, the year in which the most famous Titanic was produced, and which won 11 Oscars at the time, produced and directed by James Cameron and starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. It was the first movie in the history of world cinema to receive $1 billion at the box office, and the action song performed by Canadian star Celine Dion has become one of the most popular songs in the world to date. So, how did the Titanic sink? Many see that the reason that the Titanic sank is because it collided with an iceberg in the middle of the sea, as this mountain was observed at 11:40 in the evening by the monitors on board. Then suddenly the ship's path changed to the left toward the ice, which the ship collided with the ice on the right side, reaching up to 90 meters, causing water to enter 6 of the 16 compartments that make up the ship. Then the water began to leak toward the rest of the compartments, and some recent estimates indicate that the collision caused a whole 4 compartments. Consequently, it was evident that the fate of the Titanic ship is sinking. And according to what the engineer of the Titanic predicted, the ship expected to sink after about an hour and a half from the start of water leakage to the ship, but it took 3 hours, which indicates the strength of the ship's hull at the time. And after the vessel is filled with water, there is enormous pressure on the middle of the ship, which eventually led to its cracking and breaking. Then the ship sank at 22 minutes in the morning of the 14th of April. So, how come it is still underwater? Well, the ship already lasted 108 years, and it probably won't make it for another 75 years. First of all, it's too fragile. Currently, at the depth it sits, which is 12,500 feet. Raising it would mean it would undergo multiple pressure stages, and as soon as it hit the surface, it could just collapse. Secondly, it is really huge, and no museum will fit it, so under the water is the best place for it. Moreover, its cost is unbelievable. To raise a 50-foot yacht, it costs you $250 an hour for just the use of airbags. Imagine how much it would cost to do that for 2 large sections of a ship. Plus, it is an underwater grave. So many people died that fateful night, and moving it would just disturb their peace. In conclusion, Titanic was the dream ship, the unsinkable ship. It was supposed to sail from England and be in New York the 17th of April, but the dream ship never made it to New York. The story of Titanic is both tragic and adventurous. The passengers were both poor and very wealthy. They were seeking adventure in a new country. The fact that we can still its remaining is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, we can only see it vividly under the water. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you do, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you have subjects you want us to talk about, just let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you in my next video.